The surprising news of Kobe Bryant's death has shocked many in our nation. Being a basketball fan, it surprised me as well. It has consumed the news and social media posts. And as I began to process this shocking news, the Lord brought me to a couple of passages in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, where Solomon writes, "A good name is better than precious perfume." He pauses and challenges his readers to think about the value of a name or their reputation. And he states that far above the value of any riches is one's reputation. And Solomon could have clearly said that a good name is better than gold or silver, but rhetorically he wanted to speak to his audience, and he wanted his audience to walk away with a clear metaphor. So to his Hebrew audience, he used two names that sound alike. In Hebrew, the word for reputation or name sounds like the word for perfume or precious perfume. So he shocks them and he gets their attention by reminding them that, hey, your reputation, your name is far better than any precious riches or valuable or perfumes that you may be seeking after. He continues in verse 2 and he says, "It's better to go to a funeral than a feast." Now, we might pause there and say, what are you talking about, Solomon? Why would I want to go to a funeral where people are mourning and crying the loss of a loved one instead of going to a feast where people are joyous and celebrating? It doesn't seem to make sense. So Solomon, how is it better to go to a funeral, or why is it better to go to a funeral than to a feast? He continues and he says, "For death is the destiny of every person, and the living should take this to heart." Why is it better to go to a funeral than to a feast? Because the reality is that all of us will die. So the living, those of us that are alive, when we hear the news of the death of a loved one or of a famous athlete or celebrity, or it causes us to reflect on the fact that one day we too shall die, and we need to take it to heart. So as I was processing the news of Kobe Bryant's death, I had to soberly reflect on the brevity of life and the reality that one day I too will die. So as I think about this, I'm challenged in a couple of areas. I'm challenged to ask the question, what is my reputation? If I were the one that died, what would people be saying about me? If a good name is better than precious perfume, at the day of my death, what would be said of me? And then, secondly, what am I spending my time and my efforts on? If life is brief, if the brevity of life is a reality, then it causes me to ponder about what I spend my time on. What am I spending my efforts on? The temporal? That which is temporal? Now, certainly, in a balanced perspective, Solomon says that life in and of itself is to be enjoyed. It's a gift of God. So we go through life and we enjoy life. But what is the focus? What is the drive of our life? And the Lord reminded me this week, and as I processed the news of what's happening, that the pursuit of Christ, should be my driving aim. And finding myself concerned and the passion of my life focusing in on His calling for my life. One of the things that I love about Providence Classical School is our mission. Our mission is rooted in the Great Commission. Jesus' last words to His followers was to go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded you. Our mission at Providence Classical School is rooted in the Great Commission. We are partnering with parents to train students so that they can be discipled, so that they leave here being disciples that go and carry out Jesus' Great Commission, and they go out and impact their culture for Christ. It's epitomized in in our ideal, our vision or our portrait of our ideal graduate, where we desire that our students be known for their character. That's what Solomon's saying. A good name is better than a precious perfume. When our students leave our campuses and they're known for their character, that's our goal, that they demonstrate discipline and integrity and honor, that they're known for their knowledge. Now, certainly knowledge includes the mastery of the primary academic disciplines, but it's beyond that. It's a recognition that the gospel is the answer to all of life. We desire that our students be known for their discernment. And certainly that includes logic and poetic thought, but it goes beyond that, and it's a desire for our students to be known for their ability to discern God's redemptive plan in history, and then to see how they are a part in the current world, in the current timing, how they are called to be a part of God's redemptive plan in our world. And lastly, we desire that our students be known for their communication, to go out and engage and redeem the culture in winsome and eloquent and graceful ways. So I'm reminded when I hear the news of the death of a celebrity or an athlete or even a loved one of why we're here, of why our mission is so important, why our vision is so important. Because we're really living out what Solomon challenged us to do, to soberly reflect on the brevity of life and the reality of death. So whether it's the loss of a loved one or the news of a death of a celebrity, may these events cause us to soberly reflect on our lives, to ask the question, what is our reputation? And then to find ourselves completely focused on engaging in the Great Commission and fulfilling our mission that God has given us here at Providence Classical School. For surely, as Solomon said, death is the destiny of every person, and the living should take this to heart.